Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all for the online live TECHXENIUM technical live lecturer series entitled Into the World of Vibration, organized by the Department of Mechanical Engineering, R.M.K. Engineering College, Tiruvallur District, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. First, I would like to welcome Dr. K. Muhammad Junaid, Principal, R.M.K. Engineering College, to welcome the gathering. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir. A very warm welcome and good morning to one and all. On behalf of our respected chairman, sir, members of the management, faculty members, students, and my own behalf, I wholeheartedly thank and welcome Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali, Associate Professor, IIT Madras, Chennai, for accepting our invitation to deliver this TECHXENIUM second technical lecture series organized by Mechanical Engineering Department of our R.M.K. Engineering College. This TECHXENIUM technical lecture series have been organized with the guidance and support of our management to make the students, budding engineers, and faculty members to think in an innovative manner in the latest technology areas. Today, we are very fortunate to have eminent resource person from IIT Madras, Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali, to deliver this technical lecture talk on the topic Into the Vibration. My dear faculty members and students, it is really very happy to note that our Associate Professor, Department of Applied Mechanics, IIT Madras, guest Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali, is going to deliver a talk on Into the World of Vibrations in line with the Sustainable Development Goals 17. I would like to thank the organizers of this event, Mechanical Engineering Department faculty members, and the HOD for taking very sincere efforts. Thank you for the given opportunity. Once again, I welcome all of you for this wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Dr. K.R. Sendil Kumar, Professor and Head, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to introduce the guest of today's program.
A very good morning. In line with our principal, sir, I'd like to extend my wholehearted welcome to the chief guest, Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali. Currently, Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali is an associate professor with the Department of Applied Mechanics, IIT Madras. He has been assistant professor from December 2011 in the same department. Before this, he was a Newton International Fellow in University of Swansea, UK. He has been a research scientist in Automatic Control Laboratory, IUT Longway, Grand CNRS, Nancy University, France. Dr. Farooq current research interest is in interdisciplinary area of smart materials and structures. He is particularly interested in vibration-based energy harvesting for wireless smart systems. Apart from energy harvesting, Dr. Farooq is interested in non-linear control of smart systems. He has expertise in semi-active vibration control using magnetorheological devices. His works include both development of suitable control algorithms for structures and their experimental verifications. His research areas are in structural dynamics and control, analysis and design of energy harvesting, and he has published one book, 14 book chapters, 42 international journals, and 28 Scopus indexed conference publications. So, with these few introduction words, I'd like to welcome and invite Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali sir for his presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali, Associate Professor, Department of Applied Mechanics, IIT Madras, Chennai, to take over the session. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kadwawal and Dr. Sendil, for giving me this opportunity to talk. I think there is a feedback. I'll put up my screen and let me know whether it's all visible.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Okay. All right. So I will start over again. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak to all the members, students of engineering college on a topic which is very close to my career and my interest, vibrations. And I have kept this title as Into the World of Vibrations, because as we see in our engineering undergraduate, we look at vibrations being vibrations in machines, sometimes vibrations in infrastructures like buildings or bridges, bicycles, buses, automobiles, in the sense automobiles and aircrafts. But vibration is much more. Dynamics, which is in I would say in an everyday nature, in our everyday life, we do see vibration in various aspects of our livelihood. And therefore, I have written, I've given this title as Into the World of Vibrations, because my job here today is not to give a lot of equations related to vibration, not to give a lot of details into what we do today, but to motivate you and make you understand that vibration is not what, not to the small scope of what we do in our undergraduate, but it's much, much bigger. And the world has opened up to vibrations, looking into much, much more detailed theories coming into, more general laws coming into the picture. And therefore, I would like you to take you through various examples from nature and our everyday life that has motivated me to work into the vibrations, and that motivates my students to work in vibration, and how I have used them, in my applications, in what we do in IIT Madras in my lab. So the whole presentation is going to be, so this is my slide, which I'll talk about a little later, but let me go through the talk now. So what I'm going to talk today is I'm going to first give why we need to do dynamics, what's the importance of vibrations or dynamics, and how we see or perceive vibrations in nature, in our social behavior, in our biology, right? Music I'll skip for today because of the lack of time probably, and then I would like to go to the dynamics of what we do in our lab. A part of it, mostly on energy harvesting, I will be talking about, not on the dynamics and the control side, and how have I used whatever we've seen through nature and social behavior into our studies, right? And then finally, I will be talking about one initiative that IIT Madras has started, our department has started along with other departments. There are many departments into it which are part of this, and it's called Complex System and Dynamics Initiative, right? So it's no more, dynamics is no more confined to civil, mechanical, aerospace, but it has become more. It has all engineerings into it. And therefore, I will give you a little bit of hint on that side, right? With that, I'll stop for today. You can ask me questions anytime you want. You can stop me and ask. You can raise questions, and I think the moderator can pass it on to me. All right, so why dynamics? So that's an important question, right? Why dynamics? Why do we need to study dynamics? If you see the world around us, if you see our everyday life that we deal with, weather, plants around us, animals, birds, everything around us change every moment, change with time, right? If you take up weather today is not same as weather yesterday or tomorrow. And it's changing every moment. And it's very difficult also to predict weather precisely for even this evening. We can do a ballpark approximation, and the approximation is much, much better. The smaller is the time duration. For example, my approximations are, or my prediction of weather for evening will be better than predicting it next week, Sunday, right? Or next year. So weather changes every moment. And what changes every time with time is what we call dynamics. So the system dynamics, or study of dynamics, involves understanding of all this system. When I call system, I'll talk about that. What is a system? All those things that change or evolve with time. It can be very slowly changing, or it can be changing very fast. Like flapping of a bird is very fast movement, right? Whereas, the climate or an average climate of a country changes very slowly. Okay, so but it changes with time. Anything that changes with time and its study is called dynamics. So at its core, study of dynamics involves study of motion. Study of motion relates the actions and the deformations. For example, the forces that are coming into the structure. For example, if I take a bird wing, then the aerodynamic forces in the air, the elastic forces of the wing, all this relates to motion or deformations in the wing and motion of the bird, right? So how are they related? What is the sensitivity? How does it affect? All those things forms a part of the study of dynamics. Now, when I say, it's motion, so it can involve transportation systems like aircrafts, like automobiles, bicycles. We see that bicycles are very simple examples, but bicycles are very complex dynamical system. Infrastructures like bridges, buildings under heavy rain, heavy wind, and earthquake. Changes in economic indicators of a country like growth and economy of a country, or planetary motions, sea waves, ocean waves at a place, climate, populations of a country, and its resources, right? All these are part of the study of dynamics. What dynamics helps us is to gain insight into all these problems, and it also allows us to relate different things that are observed in some place with something that is observed in another place, right? So you take up some observation in something, like for example, in climate, you take up some observation and put that in use for something that you develop. So that actually is what dynamics allow us to do, right? And then how do I do this, right? How do I do all the study in dynamics? So all the study in dynamics involves understanding how the system is changing. So when you say a system, you don't look at the complete part of it. You may, but you also look into a small part of it, looking into only its dynamics, right? Only its goal, what you need to see. For example, when a bird flapping its wing, and I'm interested only in the wing, I will not look at the rest of the part of the bird, right? I look at how the motion of the wing interacts with the surrounding, and how the surrounding, the forces in the surrounding affects that wing, right? Motion of the wing, deformation of that wing. So that forms the system. And I would like to see that as, for example, the wing, I can model it as a plate, right? Very flexible plate with some geometrical changes here and there. That forms the mathematical modeling. So first I want to understand what a system is. And then I would like to see what are my observations and what I want from the system. And based on my observations and the goal that I have, objectives, I would like to put up a mathematical modeling for it. And once I've put up mathematical modeling, I would like to see whether that mathematical modeling or that model has been seen elsewhere, right? So there where the dynamical system theories come into play. So if that similar characteristic is seen elsewhere, the observations made elsewhere, are they applicable to this system or not? That's what dynamical theories are going to tell us. And then our predictions, what we make from these dynamical theories, are made more concrete by using efficient computational methods to solve the mathematical models that we have. And sometimes we support our understanding, our predictions with model experiments, which are very simple experiment it can be, and we try to predict what our predictions are correct or not through these experiments. Doing all those things allows us to raise or address some fundamental questions, right? So it will allow us to solve some fundamental questions like how birds fly, let's say, right? It also allows us to raise a few questions like, can I predict the same thing for our airplanes? Can I make a wing like a bird has or an eagle has, same for my aircraft? If I have to make, what are the questions I have to ask myself, right? What are the most important parts or most sensitive areas of the wing that need to be properly made into the wing of an aircraft? These are the questions that we have to raise. So all those things forms part of the study of dynamics. Sometimes you may not have a mathematical model. You may have a large set of data. So from that data, you actually try to understand the underlying dynamics of the system. For example, the climatic conditions of the world, right? I don't have a proper mathematical model for it, but I have a large amount of data, what has happened from last 500, 600 years to the climatic conditions in and around everywhere. Right? The slowly depleting ice in the Arctic ranges, right? I have a data for it. And then from that data, I put up a mathematical model and then try to understand the underlying dynamics. And from that, I like to predict, right? And this prediction can have various time related to it. For example, if I am interested whether it's going to rain or not, I am interested in a very short prediction, right? Today, tomorrow, maybe day after, maybe a week's time, right? But when I'm trying to predict summer temperature, I'm going to predict it for next year. I'm going to predict it for long term. If I'm looking at the world, we all talk nowadays about climate change. We're looking at climate change over decades, right? Over 10 years, 50 years. So our responsibilities are lined or are restricted based on 20 years future plan or 10 years future plan on climatic conditions. When you look at depletion fossil fuels, you look at long term, you don't look at immediate, right? Okay, so this time prediction can change also. These are also part of study of dynamics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a few examples that we see in our everyday life, in our nature, we might have seen many times, and that will motivate us to study more into dynamics. Much of the examples that are given here, much of the videos and photos that are taken here are taken from the open space of Google and YouTube. So I don't keep the copyrights here. If you want, you can go to the YouTube and see more insights into those areas of dynamics, right? So I'll go into this. So study of dynamics, if we go and try to look into literature that we have, and thousands years of literature, thousands and thousands of years literature will tell you that study of dynamics or study of motion of systems started with the study of motion of planets. So we wanted to predict how planets and stars move around each other because we understood or we thought or we still think that they somehow affects our daily life. So we wanted to predict how solar eclipse or lunar eclipse happen. What will be the position of some particular star in some particular time of the year? What will be the position of sun at a particular, how does sun moves from its position over a year, right? So all those study actually lead to the development of theories of vibrations, slowly motions, and then vibrations on and after. Right? All these questions that we raised those days and the understanding that we got through them have led us to develop very complex structures, very complex systems like rockets and satellites, right? We understood how to make optimal trajectories for satellites and rockets such that energy requirement is less. Our fuel requirement will be less. So all this study that we did on planets, that we did on motions, trajectories, are now helping us to develop very fine, very niche, but complex systems. So study of dynamics somewhere helps our everyday life communications. Today I'm giving this talk, and it is live on YouTube because of the communication. And that's an important, contribution from dynamics. Without dynamics, you cannot keep a rocket on its track. Without controls, you cannot keep a rocket flying on its track, or a communication satellite cannot, go to its path. I will now divert a little bit and go to something else. There are a few things that we have seen on various places. If you look at weather, one of the very important, this is also taken from YouTube, one of the very important thing that we face every day is the challenge to predict weather. And weather or nature that you see has always put up through various challenges, various various understanding that we need to do for understanding them properly. So here is one picture where there is a tornado, which is engulfing everything. It's a very complex transient phenomena. It's a complete fluid motion, but weather prediction has given a new direction to the modern dynamical systems, modern dynamics. You can see on the right, there is another picture where we see oscillating patterns in a chemical reaction. So same dynamics, right? Oscillation patterns in the dynamics. It shows similar kind of behavior, what our weather prediction shows. Chaotic behavior we talk about, we call it. So when we deal with chaos, we use it nowadays in development of our devices. Some of the examples are, so Edward Lorenz was the first to predict how the behavior of weather are going to be in future. So what it showed that it's deterministic, but it's very much unpredictable for long range. You can predict in the short range, but not in long range. So he gave something called Lorenz attractor, and that is what we use heavily nowadays in our dynamical systems. It was a very simple system, as you can see, but very, very. Why is this YouTube video is not running? I don't know, but you can see here that the ball or the small mass that is moving around, moving around abruptly between two planes, right? Two of its, we call it wells, two of its wells, and it's never going through the same path again and again. So this is what we call chaotic systems, when it doesn't follow the similar path over time. Yeah, you can see the same thing here simulated, right? Same thing is shown here. So how do you use it? So I use it in our daily life. The same property of what we saw in Lorenz, similar kind of property, chaotic property, is shown in something called double pendulum. So we use it to model our energy harvesting systems. I'll give it a little bit more details later as we go ahead when we talk about our understanding of systems. So you can see here, this is the double pendulum, right? And there is one pendulum in the top, the other pendulum is in the bottom. And here is the image, fast, high-speed camera image here. As you can see, the first pendulum shows a periodic response, like it goes through a proper orbit and a proper path, proper trajectory. But the second pendulum doesn't go through the same path. You can see these red dots are its positions and various instants of times. And as you can see, it has taken any positions on the plane that it has. Therefore, predicting the location or the position of the second point is very difficult, right? It's deterministic, but very difficult, because a small change in your understanding of its initial condition can lead to a very far away in your response. For example, in the right side picture, if you see three of the double pendulum are started with same position. This is taken from the video, but with slight difference. But over time, you can see all of them are showing different dynamics. This kind of dynamics is called chaotic dynamics. And we used it heavily in our energy harvesting systems because we believe that chaotic dynamics provides better energy, energy harvesting in the systems. So one thing that we understood that chaos is a part of nature, and we use it for our benefit. Similarly, let's look at what we see in social behavior. We all are humans. Humans show social behavior. Animals show social behavior. What I try to predict here from the social behavior is what we see in social behavior. If you might have seen, a flock of birds. They all go in a similar fashion, right? They all move in a proper target in a group. They don't deviate from each other. You can see that here. Same thing is shown. So these are the pictures taken from YouTube again. Same thing is shown by birds, and also same thing is shown by fireflies. Similar nature of things we can see in a lot of animals. We call it synchronization. They fly in sync with each other. This is called synchronization. So you can see here a reindeer shows sync motion, right? They are moving in a synchronized fashion, although they're animals, but they are showing a synchronized motion. There is a picture, the video could not come out, for a herd of sheep, right? If you see that there is a small gate here, which is open, all sheep will go into this small gate and then get out from that gate and again diverge, right? But they are all converging to a single gate, small opening. We humans also show similar behavior. You might have seen various pictures that people walking on a Millennium Bridge, right? Millennium Bridge in UK in 2000. They were initially walking randomly. That YouTube video is also available in YouTube, walking randomly. But once the bridge started moving, they also started moving in sync. You might have seen army people marching in sync, right? So synchronized behavior is an important behavior that we saw in your human life. Now, how does the study of this thing help us? The study of this thing, one of our colleagues in our department has done, helps us to manage crowd, right? Manage crowd in big festivals, in big fairs, in sporting events, right? So it's a huge crowd. If you cannot manage, it can lead to huge chaos, right? In political rallies. So he has shown you can use this behavior, human behavior, or characteristics of behavior that are seen, and if you can model it, you can actually know how to manage crowds when there are crowd management requirements required, right? So how this dynamical understanding helps in managing something which had not been managed in a proper scientific manner before. Here is a small thing that we studied. We are not interested in those crowd management, but what we are interested in, how can we have multiple harvesters together and sync between them so that we can harvest much more power, right? So when I say they are sync, that means we're trying to take energy out from the environment in a sync manner, in a better way. So for example, if I ask, few of you, going on a track for jogging, 2 of you are there, let's say 3 of you are there, and one guy has moved, maybe 10 meters ahead of all of you, and then the other guy is a very close friend of this guy A who has moved 10 meters ahead. So they want to discuss something. They want to talk while running or while jogging. So B has a very good relation with A. So what will happen? A will slow down and B will face up fast, and they will come to a same position and start running in the same speed, right? This is called sync. But let's say there is another object called C, another guy C, who doesn't have very good relation with A. So very not so strong relation, not so strong coupling, we call it. Then A will not slow down as fast as it for B, for C, right? So syncing will take some time for that. So here is a lot of those persons running, 75 of them, and we want to see whether they sync or not. What happened? It's not. Oh my God. Okay, I don't see the video running here. This was a simulation video, so I don't know, probably it will run sometime later. So it shows that all of them are running at different points. We'll come to a sync once their coupling coefficients are high. So this kind of synchronization we used for understanding of how energy we can extract with multiple of oscillators, but a better energy extraction. We also see dynamics in biology. Huge applications of dynamics is there in biology, from the heart pump, from the valves of the heart, motions of the valves of the heart, motion of earlobe, and also blood pressure, right? We also like to understand the signaling of brain through dynamic network, oscillator networks or dynamics network. All those things are currently a very booming area of research. There are a lot of unsolved questions, a lot of unsolved problems that are there which you need to solve. How a tissue grows, how cancer cells grows, and how you want to. So a growth of a tissue, a growth of a cancer cell can only be checked or stopped if we understand the growth dynamics of these cells. How the blood monitoring system work in a blood, sugar level goes up once you take a food and it comes down. So if you can model them, model their dynamics, you can develop better blood monitoring systems, right? So I was part of one team in ISC where we put a control theory which helps in controlling blood glucose. I think the team has come up with a device now, which is not yet marketed, but the device is ready to be marketed. They have put up a startup to do it. But yeah, so understanding of those phenomena through dynamics helps us to understand how to check them, how to solve, how to have a better healthy life in systems. So here are a few examples of this. This is a heart valve, blood vessels when they grow, when they bulge, earlobe, all those things are part of dynamics. So we have done some studies on the heart vibrations of valves. Mostly there is a aortic valve here. We try to model that aortic valve with a part of a circular disc, for example, a part of it only. And we try to understand its dynamics. Noodle is working on this. So understanding dynamics. And with that, we try to develop better artificial valves, which can help patients with heart problems. So here are a few dynamics. This is a valve that was developed for earlobe. So here are a few dynamics of that. I don't want to go to the mathematical details to it because we have a lot more to cover. So finally, after the part of this section, why dynamics? So as you can see, there are many more examples, from music, population growth, economics, political science, war. Everywhere we can see a dynamics. You can see dynamics between two persons' behavior, the relationship between two dynamics. It can be very good on a day, it can be very bad on some other day. There are factors that affect this. How can you model that? Can we model this? Yes, of course we can model this. May not be very accurately, but yes, we can model it and accuracy can come over the years. A lot of dynamical theories and observations made in nature are similar in nature with other problems. And therefore, observation made in one part or one problem can be completely mimicked into another problem with some changes. Right? Many of these problems can be done with simple models by focusing on particular goals. And we can design better, efficient, man-made systems if we understand nature better, because nature is optimal at the end of the day. And if you want to have efficient resource usage, then you have to mimic what nature has done. So to understand nature, we need to understand dynamics of it. Now I'll go slightly to what we have done in our lab. Very small part of it. It comprises very small part of, but very close work, energy harvesting. I started working on energy harvesting during my visit as a Newton Fellow in the UK. So I was working there as a Royal Society Fellow, and we started working on harvesting. We started the linear and then moved into non-linear harvesters. And we have developed a lot of things, a lot of devices in harvesters in our journey of last 10 to 12 years. And we will talk about this slowly in the coming lectures. So this is my area of research, is mostly on mechanics and vibration of linear and non-linear energy harvesters, design of vortex-induced fluid-based harvesters, piezoelectric harvesters. I do work in control theory, and control dynamics is the core where I work. These are part where I apply those dynamics. I work in both theoretical, numerical, experimental, and real-time testing. All these are part of my study. You can go into my homepage and see what we have done, but it's a little bit old. I'm currently a professor in this department. But yeah, we do have a lab homepage, which is much more updated than my personal homepage. So yes, so we developed few harvesters like a linear, non-linear harvesters, as well as a non-linear harvester like an inverted beam pendulum. We developed hybrid harvesters, which has been used in our campus bus to extract power from bus movement. So the motion of the bus actually bends the beam here, which extracts power from the piezoelectric material on the top of the beam, and also it moves this the magnetic mass over a solenoid, and then solenoid also extract power. So with that, we used a few sensors, accelerometers. We powered those accelerometers over the bus. We have seen it working. We have multiple nonlinear. So this is where we were looking, the last part, we're looking at the synchronization. So if I have multiple of them, how do I sync them to generate more power? When they're single, I think chaotic motions provide better power. And we're also looking into impact of them when they hit each other, what happens to these harvesters. The main challenge that faced in harvesters are various. For example, single frequency generators are mostly available. It's not so easy to have a nonlinear harvesters in a design framework for commercial usage. And they provide better power, but they provide power at single frequency. So you need to be very cautious, very careful about the host frequency when you design these systems. Low power devices are very much missing. Low power devices are very much in need because you can use them in infrastructures like building, bridges, as well as in the flow of water or flow of anything within a pipe. These are low frequency systems. So design low frequency systems are very important, where you can use instabilities which you see in nature to design those systems. And then power generators are low, which you need to probably more increase. And for that, we can design hybrid harvesters. All these are part of our studies we have done. So energy harvesting, what is energy harvesting? Energy harvesting is trying to get power for your sensors, wireless sensors mostly, not from the grid, but from the environmental vibrations. So for example, you have a bridge and you put a lot of sensors in the bridge, and those sensors are not powered by batteries. They are powered by the motion of the bridge itself. So a vehicle moves on a bridge, the bridge vibrates, and that vibration generates power, and that power is given to the sensor to sense the bridge. So this is what energy harvesting does. And the limit of power is very low in milliwatts, right? So because we want to power only sensors. For example, you have a battery. So you have a watch, right? A battery watch or a smart watch on your hand, and suddenly it goes down and you need it. What do you do if you have a wearable device that can generate power from your body motion? Then that wearable device can generate power to your watch so that it will work. Similarly for your mobile. Some of the things that we have done here are, this is a hybrid system developed by TECHXENIUM, where you can harvest both power from your PZT here. So you can see a PZT patch attached on a beam, metal beam, and there is a shaker which moves up and down and give the excitation that we want to the shaker, with spring and a magnetic mass here which moves in a solenoid. Very simple design, but can provide you power which can power up accelerometers on a bus. So we have powered up accelerometers, more than 15 LED sensors, LED lights, and a thermal sensor together using this single device. So this actually reduces your requirement on batteries, and therefore you are becoming more and more environment friendly, because if you reduce, and these are also long term, right? Batteries can get over in a year, but vibration of a bridge will not get over in a year. So you can keep on giving vibrations, and this device can work over years, like 5 to 10 years. Okay, and mostly suitable for wireless sensing systems. Similarly, there is also we developed something called instability-based inverted column beam system. Whereas the PZT is attached here. When it bends, it provides power. These are unstable systems, nonlinear system, which shows chaos that we have seen in weather forecasting. It shows similar behavior. And we used to make sure that we can harvest power under those conditions. You can see there is a PZT attached here. We had videos for them. We are not showing it here because it takes a lot of memory. You can see we have designed another one, which is also a chaotic system, a periodic but as well as chaotic system, which within two magnets, you can move this beam where there is a PZT here attached. The beam also has a magnet on its tip. Based on the strength of the magnet, based on the position, location of these two magnets, base magnets, 2 or 3, whatever you put, you can see various dynamics into it. You can see a linear monostable dynamics, you can see nonlinear monostable, you can see bistable. I've not defined those things here, bistable, monostable, but what I'm talking, you can see chaotic also. So you can take periodic motions, like you can see in this picture. It was moving here and then moved up, then moved down. This is kind of moving between two wells in a periodic fashion, and then it can move within the wells. That means it can have large deformations like it shows here. Sometimes it goes here, moves, and then comes here, moves, and then sometimes moves between them, right? So all those things are captured here. So this is single period motion, this is a single period motion, and then there are double period motions like this. Right? It can also show chaotic pictures. So, this is the chaotic zone where it goes, where you have a lot of periods into it, right? Infinite number of periods. It can keep on moving. You don't get any period actually, if you see. And here these are all experimental pictures. Here you can see that it shows you a lot of intricate dynamics, right? Similar things we have seen with pendulum, which I have shown you this before. It's a double pendulum, which shows a complete chaotic motion. And as you can see, when it's in chaotic motion, your voltage generation is quite high. Okay, so what we have observed in nature, periodic motions in planets, chaotic motions in weather forecasting, curve and synchronization in herd behavior of animals, all these are being applicable in our daily systems that we design in our lab. Here is another harvesters that we developed for fluid-based motion. So if your flow is there, this is mostly for urban applications and for water applications. So if you have a fluid moving from this side, the fluid will create vortex on this plate, and that vortex created, you can see this picture, the vortex created on the plate will bend the plate, right? Will move the plate, and the motion of the plate will generate power in the MFC that is attached. So MFC is a piezoelectric material which gets strained, and when it gets strained, it gives you power. And here are a few of its complicated figures, which got from the complicated dynamics that it has. But over and above, you actually get power because of the motion that it shows. And the idea is not one. When you have a flow of water in a tube or an open stream flow of water, you can put multiple of them together. This picture is again taken from the Google. Multiple of them together and see how synchronization helps to generate more power out of it. So all these are being part of studies that we do in our labs, and we have huge collaborations. Apart from energy harvesting, we're also interested in work in morphed aero motions, right? So we want to make sure that our aircrafts in future behaves like birds. So this is a NASA picture for birds. So they can behave, their wings can behave like birds. Mostly what we use present day are very stiff, metallic wing, where they are attached with hinges and they can bend as like this, like a hinge. But we wanted to flexible bend. So these are the pictures of some of our studies for the wing, where we got flexible bending, right, using mode shapes of the wing. So using the dynamics, intricate dynamics that it has within the structure. Here are a few models that we had. You can see here the bending, right? Bending of the wing. These are the wing. And here is the bending of the, what should I say? Not the wing, but the, you can see we have designed a hingeless portion of the wing, airfoil. This is part of a project where you can see we have made a hingeless wing where it works on a motor and it provides a complete bend of the structure. So we have got 2 patents out of this on this work. It has a lot of complicated details inside into it. But you can see on the overall, it moves very smoothly. It bends very smoothly over the time, the control system into it. The idea is to use smart systems, smart materials into it, which we have also done it. It's not shown here because of the time, but if sometime else, if you allow us to give a talk another, I can talk more on details on a particular technical area. But this was a more general talk, so I kept it small. These are the team that I have who have helped me in going through this full work that I've shown. Rahul has graduated now. He is now a faculty or assistant professor in Georgia Tech. Deepak has graduated. He is in IT Kanpur. Giri has just graduated 1 month before. He is going to go for a postdoc soon. Pradeep, Rathinam, and Arvind have helped me in developing energy harvesting systems. And we collaborate with a lot of people abroad, so I want to acknowledge all of them too. This is the team currently working with me in various areas of structures. So Uma is trying to develop some systems that that can be made wearable devices to harvest energy from. So he's working from the device design perspective to material modeling. Sabir is working on the fatigue studies of harvesters, soft material and biomedical applications. Nurul is working and Sweta is working. Right, Dharmata is trying to us to develop the more damping and composite for aerodynamic applications. Gautam is the one who is developing the morphing wing. The video that you saw in morphing wing is developing Gautam, and Polam is working in a bistable material, bistable dynamics. Sumanto, Arvindan, and Subhanshu is what we did. Abhijit, what we saw in the energy harvesting system, and Resma is a postdoc who is developing material for energy harvesting. So fabrication of materials. So now I will so initiate something which our institute has initiated. We call it Complex System Dynamics Group. I'll just show a small video for that, and then we'll take up. So if you cannot hear, let me know.
Professor, not audible.
It's not audible?
Yeah.
Now?
No. Previously, we were changing some settings.
Is investigating these challenging.
Now it's
Audible.
How do
audible.
flock of
Audible.
birds abruptly change directions without colliding? How is order achieved in the Kumbh Mela? Why does fake news propagate faster? How is it possible to clap in unison in a football match? Why do patterns form in sand dunes? What is the mechanism for the giant red spot in Jupiter? These are examples of emergent dynamical behavior due to the complex interactions from a collection of individuals, each behaving dynamically. Understanding this is the key to designing systems such as swarm of MAVs. Traditional reductionist approaches for analysis cannot be used for investigating these complex problems. The Center for Complex Systems and Dynamics at IIT Madras is investigating these challenging interdisciplinary problems by combining known theories of science and engineering with the recent advances in network science and data science. The center is engaged in active collaboration with reputed institutes internationally and has strong doctoral and postdoctoral programs. It offers an interdisciplinary dual degree program and an international master's program, both offering a master's degree in complex systems and dynamics. More information is available at.
So you probably can go to the website and see more details into it. So this is a new initiative that we have. I was part of when the group was formed, initially the founding part. Now they have gone into developing a IDD program, which is interdisciplinary program where student can join for master degree. So this is complex system. You can go to the web and see it. As I talked about, the big picture is how do you develop a dynamical understanding from a single behavior to multiple behavior, right? So every one of us behave differently from another, right? But overall, the society shows a particular behavior. All of our behavior gets together to provide a societal behavior. How does that develop? These are all dynamic in nature, and how dynamical studies help us to do those things, right? So this is part of the overall that we do in our lab. Also part of now it has become a part of a big initiative that the institute has developed. So you can see all those things I've discussed about planetary motions to motions in the chaotic systems. And then I've not talked about fractals, but these are fractals, which looks very nice, very interesting. And you might have seen fern, right? Fern trees, where the big tree is as patterned as a small leaf there, right? So fern trees show this kind of characteristics, weather shows this kind of characteristics, and how network dynamics helps. So now the study of dynamics is not limited to only aircrafts or mechanical civil engineering. It has gone beyond it. It has gone to networks. Everything is involved now. It has become an interdisciplinary subject area. There are a few faculties here who work. So some of them are very close colleagues to me. Sayan, Anubhav, Sunitra. Here are a few who are very close colleagues to me, and they're all part of this project. So emerging social dynamics, you can see complex biological systems, causal discoveries, all these are part of the system. So if you want to know more about them, you can go into the website and see. You can send an email to me. You can send an email to their chair, who is Professor Sayan. And with that, I'll stop. Thank you all. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk and discuss about my research, discuss about dynamics as a whole, which is very close to my my research as well as my personal interest. Thank you all. Thank you, R.M.K. Engineering College, for providing this opportunity. Thank you very much. With that, I'll stop. So if there are questions, I will take up.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with an innovation and informative session. Now it's a time for question for from the participants. Any queries?
You are telling about energy generation for mobile charging. Any demonstration you have, sir?
We did not do for mobile charging, but we have put it on a bus, campus bus. We have a campus bus, right? So the harvester that was shown by shown here, where is that gone? Yeah. Yes, this one, the second one here. We put it on a campus bus, and we could power up the accelerometer that was attached to the campus bus, and therefore we got the signal of the campus bus as it moved on. Okay, so the vibration of the campus bus was picked up by that sensor, so it was charged using a harvester. So there was no battery that was used, but not on mobile. So mobile is a little bit far because you need wearable device. You need far more. So what we are working on currently is thermal, solar, and vibration-based harvester, 3 together, which probably when it develops. So we are trying to develop material which can have all these 3, because no material available which can have all those 3. So we are trying to develop material and try to fabricate patches which can be used to have this. Probably that can charge mobile. So mobile is currently not been done in our lab.
And next question, sir. You have been telling without hinge points.
Yes.
The wings are flexible. So
Right.
without hinge points, is it possible to have the same angle of flexibility in your motor driven wings?
Yeah, so what happens, so motor driven wing is what we have done, but it can be done with smart materials also. So that is smart material thing is also patented. I've not shown here. So that work is also from our lab done. So what happens when you have a hinge, right? So your wing can, so this is a straight wing, right? So when you have a hinge, it can go rotate about the hinge, right? There cannot be any bending. But if you see this video, it is a bending that takes place here. It's not the hinge motion. So if you have a hinge here, it can only rotate. But here it can bend. So what aerodynamics tells that if you can bend, so we have shown with our studies that with our aerodynamics or aerospace team, that if you can bend, you can push your stall or instability in aircraft wings to far lower than with hinge surfaces. And that's why this project, right? So hinge surfaces actually can lead to instability very quickly. But bend surfaces will lead to instability in far, far lower ranges. And therefore, it is much better, much more efficient than your hinge surfaces. So we want to do this, right? We did it with smart materials, but the funding organization did not want it with smart materials because that will need a lot of battery power. So they said that we cannot put batteries inside the wing. So they wanted to go with a motor which will take small pencil, not pencil, but 2-3 pencil batteries or 4 pencil batteries to get it to work. So that's what they wanted. Yeah. If that answers your question.
Yes.
Any queries? Any other participants? Thank you for your clarification, sir.
Thank you. So no questions in the YouTube?
I think there is no question, sir.
Okay. So we then close the session.
Sir, 1 second, sir. Now I request Dr. R. Suresh Kumar, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to one and all. On behalf of our management, principal sir, HOD sir, faculty members and students, I thank our chief guest, Dr. Sheikh Farooq Ali, Associate Professor, Department of Applied Mechanics, IIT Madras, Chennai, for spending his valuable time with us and sharing their knowledge about vibration in detail. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and system, sir. Thank you, sir. And also, heartfelt thanks to our students and external members those who joined through WhatsApp. Sorry, through YouTube. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr.
Thank you
Sheikh
very
Farooq
much.
Ali, sir. Hope to see you our college in future, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think there is a question somebody asked in the chat, right?
Yes, wait, sir. One person. Sir, just I read, sir. Sir, you have gave various examples, non-uniform behavior of waves, which is dynamic, but how to find the pattern?
All right. So the pattern comes from their emerging behavior, right? So for example, weather. So when weather is there, it's a chaotic system. Now, chaotic systems are not uncertain systems. They are deterministic systems. Therefore, if you know your initial conditions very well, you can predict its path very well. Now, the problem is you cannot know the initial conditions that drives the motion of the weather exactly as much as you want, right? You cannot do that because your sensors have limitations. You have limitations. Our observations have limitations. And we also have limitations in number of measurements that we can. So therefore, we cannot predict or we cannot measure its initial condition very well. And therefore, our predictions will go away from the weather as you go over time. So based on today's morning prediction, the weather forecasting can be told about evening very well, about tomorrow somewhat well, about day after tomorrow, maybe with some uncertainties, maybe with some approximation. But if you ask me to predict weather for 1 year after, or maybe a month after, I cannot do that with certainty. Because my initial conditions measurements are not very true, not very correct. And this behavior is seen in many places. In many places that a small change in the initial condition will show an abrupt change over time. And therefore, your understanding, but when you see this change over time, you can also see that they cannot have many different characteristics. This is a single characteristic that the behavior is changing and it's changing this much far away for my prediction over time. So I can say that my prediction will be correct for a day or two. Similarly, if I take a system like my harvesters, right? If they are nonlinear, I cannot say that how they are going to move from one well to another well or what trajectory is going to take over time. But I can certainly say that if it moves, it has this many places to move. This is the region on which it can move. And if it moves within that region, then I will have this much power to harvest. Okay. So you cannot pinpoint or predict exactly, but you can certainly say some characteristics that are going to be there. Okay. To pinpoint and say with certainty what will happen, whether it will be 5 mm rainfall after a month, you need all the data that needs to be read today, you have to read them. Otherwise, they call it butterfly effect. With a simple change in butterfly's motion can change your predictions over a month, a lot. But it may not change it by today evening. Okay, that's what I think I have to say on your question, Mr. F. Jamaluddin. Yeah.
Jamaluddin. Hope Jamaluddin, you clarified your doubt. Right. Thank you, sir. I think there is no further questions.
Thank you, Kadravel.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We will meet in future in our college, sir, campus, sir.
Sure. No problem. I thought that today's talk would have been in college. That's what Professor Rajan told me.
Okay.
Then you might have to go there. I said, okay,
yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, sir. We will meet some other day.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Thank you. Bye.